Okay, it's Kev here. Intro 86. Let's have a look. So, advantages and disadvantages. In many Western countries, there is an increasing number of couples choosing to have no children. What are the advantages and disadvantages to this? So, you paraphrase, you can see here, Western countries, Western nations, states, Western in the West, developed, there's quite a few. Though I did see some people using some rather strange synonyms as a paraphrase, but we'll come to those in a moment. Increasing, increasingly, make it an adverb. Significant number, etc. Choosing to, not to, opting, couples, husbands and wives, etc. It's pretty straightforward. Don't have to spell it out. So what are the advantages? Control of your lifestyle. In my example, which I posted here, the benefits are more disposable income and leisure time, because kids are expensive and take up a lot of time. However, nobody to carry on your family name, and a sad, lonely old age with no children or grandchildren awaits. So, a significant number of couples living in the West are opting not to have children. I believe being able to control their lifestyle is the biggest benefit for husbands and wives. Increased need for social support is the primary demerit. Now, you'll notice here in sample 1, it only says one advantage and disadvantage, because it says the main advantage and disadvantage. In sample 2, I specifically mentioned 2. Doesn't really matter as long as you are clear in your answer. Nowadays, a large number of partners, well, that could be anything. That could be business partners. What does that mean? Show no desire to have children in a variety of Western nations. Right, now, the way that this has been turned around, it doesn't necessarily mean that people are not wanting to have children, but they're not wanting to have them in Western nations. So that could imply they might have them in Eastern nations. Perhaps. I know that's not the intention, but that's how it reads if you're not careful. That's why the Western nations, it's Western couples, right? So that's why that part really should come first in the paraphrasing. Because this could read, they don't want to have them in Western nations, they want to go to Eastern nations. Obviously, that's not the intention, as I say, but still, you've got to be careful there. Essentially, will state and that okay, so not so bad. I would just make sure the Western parts, the Western nation or couples, it's specifically a Western issue. So I would put that first. More and more Western couples are avoiding starting a family, parental obligations, society in the long run. You could take that article out if you're talking about society in general. Now, in long run and large scale, now what, on a large scale? I'm not quite sure, which, in the long run. So we usually have an article, right? To society in the long run, and we don't really need that because that doesn't make any sense. Get rid of that. As downward birth rate or decreasing is probably better. Decreasing. If I spell that right. Decreasing. Birth rate in the country can cause a shortage of workforce in the future. Okay, so not too bad. So it's in the long run, in the short term, on a large scale, but we don't really need that large scale. I'm not quite sure what that means there. Now, many developed countries, that's good. The significant, well, right. As you've just introduced it, we don't need a definite article. A significant amount of partners. Now, partners, that could be anything. Make it couples, because that does imply parents decide not to have decide not to have children, because child is countable, so we need an article. So make it children. Positive points, especially for couples. I put that, but especially for people or parents, you could change that. in order to have more sufficient time. To have more time, or you don't need sufficient time, either a sufficient time or more time. So maybe take out the more for themselves. And also this way to show the responsibility, I spelled that responsibility, raising, you raise children, you don't grow them. You can grow crops, but you can raise children. However, there are drawbacks as well for society, in particular in terms of the threat of declining young population, Okay, so just watch your articles there, not too bad. European, it doesn't, not necessarily. Western, that can mean America, Australia, Canada. It's, that's what we usually take to be the West. European families are opting to not have. Opting to not have. Not for not having. That doesn't collocate. Not many children, but with some demerits. Reformer to That's a complete waste of a sentence. Don't really need that. High levels of freedom, less commitment, to mixed couples among processes, efficiently blend that was society down the line, various prominent minuses. Okay, it's a little bit long-winded. I wouldn't have phrased it among the pluses, minuses. I would have said benefits or drawbacks. You can use advantage and disadvantage. There's nothing wrong with using those words. Now, no, it hasn't. Not an argument. It's simply a statement of fact. So, we could simply get rid of that. There are more and more couples who have decided not to have a child in the West. By this trend, there will be more facilities for the next generation to enjoy. Not sure what that means. More facilities, but if they're not having children, there won't be a next generation. So I'm not really sure what that means. The population will steeply start to become old. The population can't steeply, the numbers can steeply rise or fall, so that doesn't quite work. The population will start to become old, but people get old anyway. So I take it you mean there'll be an aging population, because population becomes old the second that you're born. You get older. So I'm not really sure what that means. If you mean there'll be an increasingly aging population, then yes, you could use that. So, voluntary childlessness. That's very good, very good. Increasingly prevalent. Oh, now, very good. You see, excellent paraphrasing. That's very good. As remaining child-free, hyphen, has its pros and cons, I believe that with such a life choice, put an article, couples might feel, hey? Right, well, that first sentence was excellent. The second one, it's, I believe that with such a life choice, couples might feel too old and fall behind with parenting if they ever reconsider one day. I'm not sure what. So it says, what's the advantages and what's the disadvantages? So, is this supposed to be, this looks like a disadvantage. So these are supposed to be advantages, so why not put the advantages first? Advantages, disadvantages. It seems to me make a little more logic, Well, okay, so couples might feel too old and fall behind with parenting. I'm not very clear what. I don't know if you're trying to say that if they change their mind in future, might be difficult, but it doesn't say anything about changing their mind. They're making a voluntary decision not to have any, so I'm not really sure how that would work. There's a growing tendency for Western pairs, Western couples. It's not quite the same, Western couples, because a couple has connotations of husband and wife or partner, so I would use that. To remain childless, from my point of view, the plus point, we need a definite article. The plus points of this. Of course, this one seems to be known. Well, how does it seems to be known? Causing sense of loneliness could be a drawback because it's only one doing so. Okay, seems to be known. Well, it either is or it isn't, or it could be, or it might be. It can't be seems because it's not happened yet. It's true there's been the couples who want to bring children or a child into small different countries. Okay. In my view, care for your life, fewer responsibilities. That should be an S there, I believe. Don't know if only when we get older. Okay, that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now, we only had 8 for this. I don't know why. All we asked you to do was comment on Instagram, on the videos, on the channel, etc. That's all you've got to do. It doesn't cost you a cent. It doesn't cost you a penny, and all it takes is a matter of seconds. So I don't know why you're not doing so. But anyway, that's basically why we only had 8. So not too bad. Not too bad. Bit of grammar. We don't really need that, but that's not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, most of these are not too bad. Really, not too bad at all. Some, I'd say that's excellent sentence. Excellent. I commend it to you all. Excellent paraphrasing. So, not too bad. I'm going to be doing a winner. I think there's a winner of this. Let me have a look. Yeah, there's a winner. Somebody. I'm going to be doing this in a moment, and I'll post that a bit later. Okay, so not too bad. See you next time for 87.